Good evening. It is 8 o'clock and we're going to start on time. We have the pleasure of having our division directors with us tonight, who are all here with us to share some of the great and wonderful things that are happening in each of their districts. And I want to thank Sieko Van Baren for organizing all of this. Sieko, thank you very much. And when you were sharing your screen, I believe you had the agenda posted. So I'm going to turn the meeting over to you and all of you who have signed in with us tonight. Thank you so much. This is the largest group that we've had so far on Hot Topics. So division directors, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Madam District Directors and fellow members in the District 19. I am one of the hosts today. My name is Sieko Van Baren. I'm serving as the Division X Directors. So to keep you engaged, let us get started. So let me introduce one of the honored speaker, Division W, Matthew. Take it away.
Well, thank you, Sieko, Madam District Director and fellow Toastmasters. Why did you join this organization? More specifically, why did you join your club? Take a moment and think about that. We all have our reasons for why we join. The next question would be, why do you stay? One of the answers I've found to be most common is the structure and club DNA. I think we can all agree that the basic Toastmasters International program is homogeneous for almost all clubs. We follow the same protocols and know what to expect in general if we visit another club. However, when someone is considering joining Toastmasters, I often advise them to visit multiple clubs if possible. The reason is that every club has their own DNA. Just as we as humans have the same basic structure, our DNA is unique to us as individuals. Clubs have similar shared characteristics and unique attributes. One might be the way guests are greeted, or the method by which new members are oriented, or additional nuances that go beyond the basic program. My home club, Shibboleth, here in Mason City, we just had a meeting this evening. One of the roles we have on our agenda is the quiz master. That person creates questions based on the various parts of the meeting and then gives members a quiz which tests our listening skills. Not every club does that. It's part of our DNA. We used to have a joke master role, but changed it to where everyone can bring a joke to share as a way of engaging each other in some levity to end the meeting. Again, something we include that is beyond the basic protocol. People tend to join clubs where the DNA is a match to their own interests. The pandemic has also helped us to appreciate and embrace the structure and protocols that we consider universal to club meetings. Properly relinquishing control of the virtual lectern when done speaking using the formal address, Mr. or Mrs. Toastmaster. Making sure to acknowledge the audience when making a presentation, fellow Toastmasters and guests. Including the various elements of a typical Toastmasters meeting with prepared speeches, constructive evaluations, and table topics. For those who have been a member of a club for any length of time, they have come not only to expect these parts of the meeting, but may find them beneficial in transitioning to the online meeting platform. Pathways is a big change for many members who were using the legacy program. It has been challenging for some to embrace the new direction. Being able to keep with the traditional structure and protocol within meetings seems to help in alleviating some of that anxiety. Clubs that have been able to create that sense of continuity as meetings have moved to Zoom seem to be retaining members and in some cases are adding new members. One thing to note is that familiarity among members can, over time, create a relaxing of protocols. I've seen audience members making comments while a speaker or evaluator is presenting or interjecting within table topics. Protocols help us maintain a level of conduct that maximizes the opportunity for members to develop and practice their skills. I encourage you to take a good look at your club and understand the DNA that makes it unique and can be an added attraction for potential members. Also, be attentive to your meeting structure and protocols that have been developed over time to aid us in improving our communication and leadership skills. The combination of the two can help grow your clubs and provide satisfaction for existing members. Back to you, Sayako.
Thank you, Mr. Shavers, Division W directors. I like the point that you made about the DNA. That's very important for clubs to have. And now let me introduce actually my division, Division X. So I'm going to share my screen to go over what I learned. All right, so. All right, so let me introduce my team, the area directors. We have a great area directors, Marjorie Shrestha, area 42 directors, and then area 43 director, Susie McKinster, and area 44 director, David Lopez. And actually we have one area 41 director is no longer. So actually these three directors are covering those area 41 club at this time. And in order to find the best practices, actually I look at the report which actually you are available to access. It doesn't have to be any particular role that you have. Now I will be happy to share this slide after, so you can take a look at the reports location on the Toastmasters website. It's actually something called Almost Distinguished Club. And right now, Division X has two clubs, the Heritage Toastmasters Club and Hokkai Toastmasters Club. And then when you look at the members needed, so actually Heritage needs 7 more, and then Hokkai Toastmasters actually only need 2. And then I thought that's one way. It's sometimes getting the member is very challenging. Sometimes it might be easy to get to the educational goals, but not quite the members. So I'm going to look at the closely Hokkai Toastmasters because they only need 2. And then when I started to investigate what is something unique about this club, first of all, I look at their club report. So their membership base was 20, currently 18. They only lost 2. That's why they need 20 to become the DCP. In terms of educational goals, in order to be distinguished, they only need 5. They already have 7. So as long as they get to 20 members, they could achieve select distinguished, of course, but since we have more months to go, they could potentially get to president distinguished. And in this particular club, they had achieved the president distinguished the previous Toastmasters years. So I'm excited to see how much they are going to continue with this DCP program. And then I also look at the website. Their website is pretty much updated, talks about their meeting online, and so that's great information. And also there's another location for the Toastmasters Club. They also stated that they're meeting online and expressed how they can get a hold of the members to get the obtain information of the Zoom information. Sorry, then also I kind of put the star mark because they recognized that the president distinguished last year's for the Toastmasters year, they actually spell out to kind of showcase how great club this is to invite the members. And then when I scroll down the website, they had a picture of the screenshot of the online meeting. When I look at the other clubs, not every clubs are actually posting the latest picture. They have a picture from the in-person time as if they are meeting in person, but not really. They already shifted to virtual setting. So I thought that's very important key point, that to showcase how they are doing, how they are surviving but thriving well, is one way to showcase their reality. They are meeting online and they're still excited to have this meeting. And then when I look at the meeting information directions, they also said the latest information, they are meeting online. And then I found something interesting was that this particular Hokkai Toastmasters Club, they had something called member recognition section. There was a picture. I believe this must have been the time when they used to have in person, but they have a picture of everybody's receiving those certificate. And then that also showcase how members are going through this journey. And I also got to be able to interview two key club officers, President Steve McKinstad and also VP of Education, Robert Perkins. I asked a few questions based on this slide. So I asked how they are monitoring the members' progress. And then Steve, the president, explained to me that the VPE, Robert, keeps track of each member's pathways progress and talk to the individual members about their progress. And then also each week's roster, they have the VP put not just the level, but also how much they are making progress. So it's a little bit more detailed information in the roster. So it looks like a VP is very diligent about members' progress and then actually communicating how they are doing. Another thing is that how they line up the speakers, because I believe sometimes not each meeting have a speakers for some clubs, but in this Hokkai Toastmasters club's case, the president said they always have at least two. If one person cannot, maybe they're not prepared or maybe just don't have time to do it, then another person can fill. And then VP of Education explained to me that this group is a bit unique in a way. At least 6 members are DTM. So he actually put the schedule 3 to 4 weeks in advance and assign the speakers with minimum inputs from the club. So that's another reason, like they have at least 6 DTM, then VPE actually start to schedule, and then DTM, those speakers can typically ready to do that. If they cannot, of course, they will communicate back to the Robert. So I found that the VPE is not just hope and pray, okay, please somebody, speak up. It's not like that. He's actually proactively scheduling 3 to 4 weeks advance. I thought that's very interesting, and then keep the momentum going. And another thing is, anything unique about this club is that current membership is 18, but also close to 85% attends each meeting. And even when we had a derecho storm back in August, it went to like 11 or 12, but still because of the power outage. But they still continue to have a good attendance. I thought that was another interesting part. And then the reason why could be that the president talked to me that they emphasize the benefit of business skills, facilitating meeting skills, and the leadership skills that the member continue to acquire and improve on. And also, how are they recruiting new members? President talked to me that this is a community club, so they utilize Facebook. And then when I look at the Facebook page, they had a very frequent posting, how the club is doing, if there's a new members, there's a new members introduction. So very active on that one too. And he talked to me any plans. So since virtual meeting, they lost the kind of a water cooler moment, just like a before and after. So he's thinking that perhaps they might be doing like a 10 minutes before people can log in early to do some like chit chatting. And then also they might be keeping 10 minutes after so they can continue on chit chatting if they wanted to do that. So that's another things that this club might be doing that going forward. So that's the things that I learned, and I just wanted to share with you. I hope some benefit to you and then many of your clubs. Thank you. So let me move on to the next. That's the Division Y, Tony Dorman. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Psycho. It is a privilege to be here as your Division Y director. And you will give me a second to get my PowerPoint slides up. So as Division-wide director, I've had the privilege of being able to visit a few different club meetings over the last year. And while I've gotten to see a few different clubs, I have decided to focus in on one of those clubs, on a club that has not only been able to continue during these pandemic situations, but has been able to thrive. And the club that I'm going to focus on tonight is Los Oradores Toastmasters out of Urbandale, Iowa. And I know I have a few Los Oradores members tonight in the Hot Topics, so thank you for coming. If you do not know, Los Oradores is a dual language club, so they conduct their meetings in both Spanish and English. And they were always very nice to me, even though the only Spanish I have is what I learned from Sesame Street 30 years ago. But they run very good meetings, and I just wanted to share some of the things that I've observed when I've been watching their meetings and when I've interviewed some of their club officers on why they believe they've been doing well over the past year. It's just an example of how well they've been doing. They've been able to maintain their membership at 24 members, and they have already submitted 7 educational awards this Toastmasters year. So they're already in very good shape, and I know they're going to continue to do that. So one of the first things that I have definitely noticed is that they are working on maintaining a social atmosphere in virtual meetings. I never got to be able to attend one of their meetings in person, but I've been able to attend some of their Zoom meetings. And I know that they are very social with each other during the meetings, and they also have allocated some time after the meetings where they can talk with each other and just be able to make sure that they're catching up on what all of their members are doing. They have a social cohesion and they have a bonding in their club that is very apparent. And it's because of this, their members are definitely bonded to the club, and that they have bought into the mission of the club, and that they're very friendly with each other. I believe this has allowed them to be able to maintain their membership and also maintain buy-in into the club. And I think that is something that even though in our regular meetings that we would be able to talk with each other after the meetings, it's a lot of times we might just end the Zoom meeting right at the end. This is not something that Los Oradores has done. They have actually allocated time so that they are able to have a social hour with each other. And I think that is something that is done very well for their club. Something else that I thought is very good is that they recognize educational achievements. So what they do is that after a member receives an educational award, they allocate some time on the agenda to make sure that that member is recognized. They also make sure that the Vice President of Education gives them one of the awards in the virtual awards and pathways, so that they at least have something. If we were in an in-person meeting, they might be able to give them a physical certificate or a ribbon or something like that. But this new pathway system does have a lot of electronic awards that Los Oradores has been able to do very well. They also make sure that when they are recognizing this member, that they make sure that everybody unmutes themselves and makes a lot of noise. So this is a good way to maintain a lot of support. A lot of people get a lot of self-satisfaction out of the educational awards they receive in Toastmasters, but getting that recognition from your club is also just another added positive that it's something that Los Oradores does very well. And I think it would be very valuable if other clubs did as good of a job as recognizing their educational achievements as this club has. And then the third area that I think that is something that this club does very well is mentorship in terms of Zoom and Pathways. We've all heard some of its advice that our founder, Dr. Ralph Smedley, has given, and how important mentorship is in being able to teach the skills of public speaking and leadership to our other members. The Pathways educational system is something that we all have had to learn during the past few years in an effort to incorporate this Toastmasters educational curriculum into our Toastmasters meetings. What they've done in Los Oradores is that the officers have actually set up one-on-one meetings with members or set up small group meetings so that they can teach some of their members about some of the intricacies of Pathways. And that one of the officers also mentioned that the club has done a lot of work in terms of learning about some of the different aspects of Zoom and different ways that they can improve their meetings. So it's not only are they just doing their meetings, they're also mentoring all of their members and making sure that everybody is educated in the areas of both Zoom and Pathways. In order for us to have successful clubs, we need to make sure that we have strong mentorship programs in place, whether they be formal or informal, but make sure that all of our members are learning what they need to learn in order to be successful in Toastmasters. But overall, it's Los Oradores and all of the other clubs in Division Y are doing an excellent job in terms of being able to continue during these pandemic situations. And I hope that you've been able to learn something in terms of being able to take some of the best practices of the Los Oradores Toastmasters Club and incorporate it into your own. Thank you, Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you very much, Tony, Division Y directors. So lastly but not the least, we have a great honor speaker, one more, Mary Schultz from Division Z director. Thank you, Mary.
Okay, I almost forgot to unmute. Tonight, I'm going to try to keep this short because we're running a little bit late. I'm going to talk about keeping commitments for meeting roles. My first point is it's especially important for speakers. If you're assigned a speaking role, to do everything you can in your power to be there to speak. And my second point is that clubs should have a backup plan if for some reason all the speakers are not able to speak. The club that I'm going to highlight mostly is Golden Speakers from Fairfield and a little bit of North Dodge from Iowa City, which is my home club. Golden Speakers holds their members responsible for speaking. The speakers volunteer, they request times from the VPE to speak. So they're well aware, they should be well aware of when and what they're speaking, what night they're speaking on. So I was talking to one of the girls from this club and she was worried about getting ready for speech and she was very busy. And I said, well, just reschedule. And she said, oh, we don't do that. I'm like, don't do that? And after thinking about it, I thought this club is a very strong club. It's a very mature club and it's been distinguished many, many times. So they understand if there's a conflict, if somebody can't be there, but they don't go easy on their members. And that's a little hard to do, but I've seen it work for them. They say that if someone says they just didn't have time or they just didn't get ready, that's not okay. Then they remind the members that keeping a commitment to speak shows respect to the fellow club members who may have postponed speeches they wanted to do themselves, and it's hard to find a last-minute replacement. Now, on the flip side of this, it's going to happen, and a club should be ready for it. I visited a club that was prepared to play videos from the last international contest, and it was really interesting. I mean, there was very good speeches, and they did a round-robin evaluation, which was challenging and beneficial for the club because it really challenge their evaluation skills. And what North Dodge does, and what a lot of other clubs I've seen do, is multiple rounds of table topics, which can be fun. And it's an okay plan, but what we've decided to do is to have all of us who are experienced members have back pocket speeches so that we're ready to give a speech. We don't have all the details worked out, but we've agreed that we're either going to brush off old speeches or be ready to give a speech from the Toastmasters, like keeping the commitment from the Successful Club series. So my 2 points tonight were to be ready. If you scheduled for a speech, do everything in your power to give that speech to help your club have a good meeting and be successful. And the club should be ready to hold either backup speeches or play videos or have an idea. It's really discouraging, especially if you have a guest come in and there's no speakers and everyone is like, well, we're not sure what we're going to do. Not acceptable. Have a plan and follow through. This will make the meeting successful and beneficial, and it'll keep your members engaged and coming back to the meetings. It's a win-win. Back to you, Seiko.
Thank you very much, Mary. I know we have 4 more minutes, and I hope all of you, thank you again for attending, and hope you will get some benefit of attending to get back to your club so you can share. Are there any questions that we might be able to answer?
Yes, I have a question, if I may. Thank you very much, Seiko. May
Sure.
I go ahead?
Over,
Yes.
Ovio.
Yes, I was listening to hear something about visitors attending these meetings. It was very impressive. I learned a lot from them, but I'm wondering what's a visitor like, prospects and so on.
So your question is about the visitors, did you say? Sorry.
Yes, the best practices, some of the clubs that were mentioned, which are doing well, you know, all of them have, one, maintained their membership, others lost members, but I'm not hearing about visitors. And I think that's one of the challenge that many clubs are having in terms of having new members.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just trying to figure out what's happening. Some of those clubs, are they having visitors so they have prospects for new membership?
Any directors like to talk about? Matthew?
Hi, Psycho. Matthew Shavers, Division W. So, Orville, one of the things that Psycho mentioned was the website. And here at my home club, Shibboleth, we've had 2 different prospects that were able to find us through the Toastmasters International website. So having that updated information on the website and having someone as a contact that they can reach out to, because nothing's worse than someone going to your website, trying to find information, reaching out, and then the person doesn't respond. But I've found so far that the Toastmasters International website, people are interested in finding communication, leadership, improvement opportunities. So they'll go to the website, they will put in their information for where their zip code is, and then they will look for the clubs that are close by. And if you can respond back to them, reach out to them, we have a standard message that the VP of Public Relations or the club president sends out in response to those inquiries. If they come direct from someone that's contacted me through the email, or Toastmasters International sends out the leads, make sure you're following up with those potential guests. Once you get them to the club, greet them like you would in person and make them feel warm and welcome, and then you can usually try and turn them from a prospect to a member.
Did it answer your question, Ovio? Thank you so much, Matt.
Yes, what you said is very good information, very good information. I've learned a lot from, you know, the presentations that have been made. So I'll see what I can take away from it. Thank you.
Thank you. Looks like we have 1 more minute.
Keiko, I might add a little bit to Orville's question if I might.
Sure.
We have visitors maybe once or twice a month, or we have had since about the middle of November in my home club. And a lot of it is just word of mouth, people finding out about a club meeting. We hook them up with our BPM. She spends a lot of time talking to them about the meeting and what happens. And then when they do come, they are introduced just like they would be in a regular meeting. And I mean, we just run the meeting similar to we would if we were in person. They're asked to participate if they want, and they're asked to give us feedback at the end of the meeting. So, and some of those people have joined us, not all, but certainly we've been able to pick up a few new members that way.
Thank you, Betty. Any other thoughts on this particular item? All
This is
right. Tamara?
Yes, this is Tamara from Los Oradores, and we did have an open house. It was a virtual open house that we used to really launch a big push for visitors. And I know that other people have had open houses, but ours seemed to be pretty effective getting the word out. It was just mostly to light a fire under our members to say, hey, think about all the people in your life that might want to improve their Spanish, improve their English, since we have a lot of members who have contact with Spanish speakers, and also just those who want to participate in a club where they can develop leadership and speaking skills. So that was really great. We had a really great turnout. One of our past international presidents is a member of our club, so we got to really trump that and invite a lot of people. That was a good opportunity.
Great, thank you, Tamara. I know there's an incentive for open house as well from the district. And then I know we have David Lopez too. He's at Area 44 directors. I know his statement, I think his club increased 2 new members because of the meetup. So there's a variety of, LinkedIn, Facebook, meetup, various ways that perhaps the club like to utilize, and then posting the updated information. I don't know, David, would you like to say anything about it?
Yeah, I was actually going to speak up and say Meetup has worked for us where people have been looking for something in the Dubuque area and have found us by way of that. We've also been trying to use both Facebook and LinkedIn, which have both had mixed results, but they're out there. And we've also been trying Eventbrite. Basically, I mean, try anything you can think of that'll get the word out and tell people about your club, and you don't know what you'll find. And it also doesn't hurt to try and do something to motivate your members to participate too, so it's not just one person or 2 people who are doing the recruitment. For example, right now, to motivate our club, and we'll see what the results are, is our club's doing a recruitment contest, and we're offering a prize for, okay, if our club hits a certain number of members, this will be the reward for everyone, and there'll be a prize for whoever recruits the most people. And that's something you can try and do, and that way it just motivates your entire club to get out there and try and find whoever they can.
Thank you, David. All right. I know it's 8:33. We would also like to be respectful to everybody's time. So let me invite back to Betty.
Thank you, Seiko. I want to thank all of the division directors for preparing for tonight. You've all shared excellent information. And I want to thank the members who joined us tonight, all 24 of us. I think have had an excellent interaction and learned some new things that we can take back to our club. I'd like to invite you back next month on the first Monday in March. Chris Sheehan will be presenting, and the topic will be membership. So if, membership keeps coming up as something that we all struggle with. So be sure to come back and join us next, the first Monday in March at 8 o'clock. And hopefully we will pick up some new tips on membership. Again, thank you to all for joining us tonight, and have a good evening.
Thank you very much.